Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you here with Spiritual Rockstar Show. We are here with an amazing guest today, Therese Skelly. Oh my God, she is my soul sister. We've known each other for years, good friends, and we just love hanging with each other and doing stuff together. So you're gonna get. She has been a guide, a healer, a coach, actually one of the very best coaches and healers I've had in my life, one of the best guides I've ever had, and made a huge difference in my business particularly. And she's amazing with energy. I can't wait to share more and more about her with you in a moment. Today we're here to talk about how to show up being fiercely here in your life and business. Now, Therese Skelly works with high-achieving women and sometimes men.
Sometimes men, absolutely. Cool men, cool conscious men. Yeah, there we go.
Who are committed to making a difference. These talented folks are sitting on a gold mine, but often feel the pain of knowing that they are in their own way. You can relate, folks, about this. A former psychotherapist and marketing consultant, Therese focuses on helping her clients to show up and be fiercely present to create their dream business and life. Working on the subtle level of energy and emotion, she supports them to step into the work and kick some butt, okay? To answer their soul's calling. All right. From the work, she helps people to value themselves like she did with me, make more money like she did with me, and serve more people like she did with me, and have a business that makes them happy like she did with me. Now, Therese likes to say, hey, what makes you unique? My superpower is in finding the inner game blocks and helping people overcome them. So this is what her gift is. And then getting my clients aligned in a body with their soul's desires, something I am all for. Okay. Yeah. Using energy clearing, crazy love. That's, oh my God, so much crazy love. And kick-ass mama bear wisdom. It's a great combination, absolutely. So she's all that and more. So glad to have you here, Therese.
Thank you. It's great to be here, my soul brother. Every time we talk, we're like, oh my God, I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing the same thing. Like we literally, I think for 10 years, our paths have just been so parallel. It's been a joy to be with you.
Oh, absolutely. Particularly with the purpose and business sorts of stuff, right? It's just like almost identical energies and things going on in some regards, for sure. It's like, oh my God, we're on the same exact page. It's
crazy.
It seems like. Yeah. So yeah, it's amazing. And I'm just so grateful for that as well. Now, so today we're here about this fierceness, right? So being fiercely here, this is, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about that, Therese. Where did this come from, right? You're the happy and business lady, and now we're fiercely here. What? How did we get from happy and business to this theme now of fiercely here?
That is a great question. So the last few years, as you know, I had a lot of very significant deaths. I had my mother, my father-in-law. The worst one was my children's dad died a couple years ago, very suddenly. And I had relationship losses. I ended a couple relationships and had a child be sick. So in a 3-year period, Dan, I lived through hell. And the tsunami that grief was pretty much just raised everything. It just, right? And so when you are in that space, there is no more like, oh, I worry what they think. There is no more like codependency, no more like, well, I'm afraid to do that. And so on the other side of it, I was telling a girlfriend of mine a story because I actually had taken a stand. I'd taken a stand for myself, and I experienced such blowback from this particular person. There was a family member, and I was like startled, like, whoa, wait, you're treating me this like what? And the old me, the codependent, I think we're therapists in the beginning because we're codependent, right? The old me would have crumbled. And after all the shit that I went through, I just was like, oh, hell to the no. I mean, I just was like, psh. And I was talking to my friend Nancy, and I'm like, it's really weird. Like, after all this loss, I'm so freaking fiercely here. And we just both go, oh, that's a cool branding thing, right? And so I actually wrote a manifesto, and I don't have it memorized, but what that is, for example, there's a lot of women, particularly, I think men and women are socialized very differently. And a lot of women walk into a room and they immediately kind of go, is it okay that I be here? They start asking for permission. They can't source their wisdom from within. They have to like, should I do this? What do you think about that? They compare themselves. They are afraid to say no. They're afraid to take a stand. And so I wrote this beautiful manifesto that really depicts like, this is what it means to be fiercely here. Because if you look at the word fierce in the dictionary, it's kind of negative. It's like aggressive, angry, but it's not that at all. It's literally like permission to be fully who you are, fiercely, fully who you are, unapologetic, and not worried about ruffling feathers, not worried about being a nice girl or getting along or making sure everybody loves you. It's like, oh, hell no. And so we can later on figure out how to give them the manifesto or where to find the manifesto, because it's like words to live by, right? So that's how it came about, just through my own journey of just kind of, wow, I'm that now.
Yeah, I'd love to know more about that, because if it's not, I mean, I'm hearing you, like, what I love about it is through the tsunami of your own life experience, it's like took you out of that like people pleasing mode that again, parallel paths with, I've been in that bag for, I'd love for you to riff off that. So like, tell me more about like what, you started to talk about it, but I want to hear more about like, what does it really mean to be fierce here?
So for me, oftentimes it's taking a stand for the people that I'm supposed to work with. My clients were calling me Mama T, and I have this like hashtag not on my watch. And so what that means to me is just like, sometimes I have to battle the part of my clients that would rather play small or would rather be safe or succumb to fear. And so my fiercely here basically is to love them in that space and go, I will not let you keep collapsing. I will not let you give up on yourself. So sometimes it's being really fierce as a stand for maybe your kids or your students or your clients or your partner. Another way I look at it is being super clear in your communication. I'm fucking fearless in terms of I'm probably, and I can own this. I'm like the LeBron James of communication and emotional intelligence. And I'm fearless about having conversations. And so, like, for example, with my boyfriend, I always say, if you don't talk it out, you act it out. And so we're not going there. So if I got a thing, we're going to talk it out. Like, whereas a lot of people would be like, well, I don't want to upset him, or, oh, it's not that big of a deal. And I'm like, bullshit, call it. Whatever's in the space, call it. So that means if I'm in a selling conversation and somebody's energy changes, I'll just go, what just happened there? I'm not being an asshole. I'm not being, pushy. I'm just like tracking, like I'm fiercely in the moment. I'm fiercely with the dynamics. I'm fiercely with the energy of what's happening. What else? Just this whole, the difference before was, I feel like, we all have that, like, am I going to be a bother? I don't want to ask for this. I mean, this was my story. I was raised with so much shame. It's like, God, is it okay to have that? Can I want that? I'm afraid. And now it's just like, it is mine. It is mine. Because it's in me to do. It is of source, right? It's mine to do and have. That's not an egoic thing. It's just the fierce owning of my vision and my potency and my like, oh, hell no, this is mine to do in the world and I get to do it, right? So I'm getting all soapboxy here, right? Preaching it.
It's dead on. And I mean, for me, it's, I totally relate to it. And it's, I don't know, for me, when I feel into it for myself, as a conscious man, I feel like, despite the successes I have had and the expression and the visibility and doing, all the things I do, channeling, healing, all this stuff I do and I've made visible in the world, I feel like I'm only scratching the surface. I still feel like there's that caged animal inside me that wants to get out, right?
Yes.
Like, rah, here it comes.
Yes.
kind of
Yes.
funny, but like I still got that feeling inside me, and I feel like to me, when you speak about it, it speaks to that part inside me. It's like,
But
yeah, fiercely here we go.
here's the thing. If you unleash that caged animal, it's going to ruffle feathers. And
Yeah.
lots of people, I'm not saying Deb, but lots of people in their relationship, their partner would be like, God, you know what I mean? And so when you start unleashing the parts in yourselves, what will happen is following that will be resistance, like, oh my God, but people are going to think you're so wild. Dan, we've talked about, Dan's like, you know, like the most powerful fire hose I know. And then their little voice is like, am I being too much? Should I say
Yeah.
that? Can I be so bold? And so when there's being fierce in the world, and then there's managing all the voices and all the external people that would put you back in.
Yeah.
Or stay just like, are really more comfortable if you just like shut the fuck up. So I like the old you. That's
Yeah, exactly.
what you're doing, you know, channeling Jesus. What? So it's like getting the downloads, but then there's also, how do I navigate the world being this?
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I help people with.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, the experience I've had of you helping me through it, through the things that I've worked with you, is you're just, you're really good at just with your intuition and being able to tune in and understand what's there, and then do your energy magic processes and whatnot. And yeah, to just weave it in and get it into your energy and to activate that clarity and that potential. And so what I saw when I worked with you is just is my income kept jumping up. It just kept jumping up during those time periods I was working with you, and it was just always like you were able to hold that space. Whereas when I worked with people who are business coaches, that, oh yeah, they're supposed to be about mindset and stuff, but like they didn't do that sort of stuff with me.
It's different, right?
Well, it's more head based, and then
Exactly.
like it did. I know it's going to do, it did do something incredible for me, but it didn't land. It didn't like actually produce results at that moment in time, right? So that's what's different about the work you do versus other people that help in business that I've seen, is you're an intuitive, like kind of an intuitive master of picking up what's going on really for the person, who they really are, and then bringing that forth and then getting them embodied in that.
Thank you.
So, to me, you help people to be fiercely there or here, not there,
Wherever they're being, yeah.
by doing that. So, so
you.
it's an incredible gift that you are able to do that and then for women, right? So for women, I think that's something I'd love to talk to you about. Is for me, I feel like I'm almost like women in a way. I mean, shade off, because I'm not a woman, right? It's a whole other set of issues.
You have a very high, beautiful feminine energy, not feminine as in effeminate, but you embrace the divine feminine, right? You're very in touch with your emotions and connected. So you very much are, but you got the crazy masculine. You're a beautiful blend. Like you could kick ass too, buddy.
Oh,
so
yeah, exactly. I'm both. And so, but I relate to what you share with women to some degree. But yeah, I mean, for women, and I work mostly all with women. I barely work with any men ever, here and there though. It's for women, there is. And then collectively, and then with women especially, there's that sense of, shame, right? And guilt, and like you said, should I, those voices, those nagging voices, do I really, I don't know, like what are some of the common voices that you see in the women that you serve that are really like, they're trying to be fiercely here, but it's like, it's really hard because they're so compassionate and loving, and they're just trying to, do all that people pleasing.
Yeah, so especially if you're over 40, and I am a little bit over, just a hair over 40, wink, wink. We were not raised with any role models of women being fiercely here, or even being here, not even freaking fierce. Women, we were taught to be nice, to go along, to, don't make it about you, take care of, like women's identities in the 50s, 60s, probably 70s were, you're as good as your family, and you are the meal you make and the home you prepare and a little bit that you contribute. So I'm so excited, the younger generation, like post Oprah, like the world changed with Oprah. So a lot of the younger women are entitled to make shit tons of money, are entitled to have as much sex and pleasure as they want, are entitled to say yes to things, whereas the women over 40 are more like, wait, well, what about my kids? Well, what about my husband? What's he going to think? And what about, I've got to do this. And like everybody else is first. And so to just say, yeah, I want this. And then like shut the voices up, sometimes the internal and sometimes the external, and just to really know that and own that. Because what women hear a lot is, God, that's kind of selfish. Like, I'll give you an example. Probably 10 years ago, I was coaching with my favorite life coach. And he said, you know, you're destined to be a millionaire. And it was really funny. He goes, don't do this humble shit. Cause I wasn't, but he's like, psh, like, stop it. Like, shh. And he's a minister. So he's just like, no. And he said, I want you to start telling people that you are going to be wealthy. And so I said to one of my girlfriends who was, you know, she was probably then in her 50s. I said, oh, I'm going to be wealthy. She goes, oh, you mean prosperous? I said, no, wealthy. She goes, well, no, like, no, you're probably abundant. And I thought, God dang, women can't even freaking say, I want money. I want wealth. It is mine. But we just have to be abundant and prosperous and grateful for all the blessings. And I, you know, and I'm being facetious here, but to just go like, and it relates to sex. How many women, you know, if somebody's like, God, I love sex. I want sex. It's like, slut. You know what I mean? Like, women have not been given permission just to have desire and kind of unbridled, wild desire. And so that's changing. And that's a lot of the work I do. So.
Right. Yeah. That I really connect with, from the place of what you're talking about, where you can't, not being able to own your own desires, and that it's all about everyone else and taking care of everybody else. Yeah, I mean, I totally see that in the women that I helped, and I do feel like it's with the spiritual crowd too, because you attract a variety of people, but a lot of them are more heart-based, spiritually based.
Absolutely, right.
So that's definitely part of that vibration as well, right? So no, we don't want the money. We just want to help. And no, please, I just know that I want to help. I don't want the money. It's oh my God, you know, it's okay to want the money. Money is a good thing. Come on, sex is a good thing. It's okay to want the sex, and it's okay to, you know, be a sexually fulfilled woman or whatever.
Absolutely.
Speak to these things. So I mean, and I love that you're doing it for women. And like for me on my end, I'll just, if you chime in, it's like, and I see it for men too. It's funny. Absolutely. It's like different stories, but they're actually, in some cases, it's like two ends of the same thing. I mean, it's the same thing. It's just another reflection of it. So for like the nice guy provider to the family, okay, I got to keep at it. It's just about, okay, let me provide, got to provide. That's all, just provide. You know, I get to drink the beer at the end of the day. I get my reward, whatever, I get my time, whatever, like the old traditional kind of guy, right? But like a lot of the energy, and there's guys that don't even do that. They're just all about, right, working 2-3 jobs, et cetera, right? So we've got that whole thing, and like, don't show your emotions. Don't be a pussy. Don't be, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And then the women are like, what the hell's wrong with you? Why can't you be emotionally available to me? We're told not to show our feelings.
Exactly. It's our conditioning. It really, and that's the thing is like, that what makes me so sad, Dan, is people spend thousands of dollars on strategy. Like they hire these high-end marketing strategists, or, you know, the 7-step, 7-figure blueprint, which is bullshit. Because if you have those cultural conditionings or any energy that's blocking you, you could have the great, like freaking Tony Robbins could live in your house for a year. And if you don't have this stuff handled, or if you even are aware of it, it's never going to work. Right. And so that's the work you and I do, is the energy work and the, you know, moving that stuff around.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people, I mean, the energy stuff is so important. I don't know, so this question that comes to my mind is, a lot of people talk about the connection between, especially with women, they talk about it, the connection between money and sex. So how do they, for you, I mean, do you see that connection?
Absolutely.
To that energy? Yes. And tell me about that.
Yeah. I'm deciding how graphic to get. No,
I'm bringing it to you, more to your edge now too. Yeah.
There we go. There we go. We're going from PG to R rated, perhaps.
Okay.
No, but for me, if we just look at how it gets done, right? We do this, right? If you're in a heterosexual relationship, right? So here's a woman. The only way a woman can be pregnant is she must be penetrated. She has to receive something, right? That's how things are created. There must be that. Even if you use artificial insemination, you're still receiving something. And so I think we've gotten I came into the business world 15 years ago, and there were nobody talked mindset, nobody talked energy and emotions, and nobody talked about how to work in the feminine. And it was just work like a man, work your ass off, push, 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 push. And then we all burn out, and we don't understand why our bodies are breaking, our relationships are breaking, and we're not making money. And so like the last number of years, there's been a trend more so to honoring the feminine energy. And the feminine energy is about being receptive. Mm-hmm. There's not a better way to receive than having a beautiful, you know what I mean? And especially there's one thing to have, procreational sex, but if you're having sports sex or pleasure sex, it's really about how much pleasure can I take? How much, do I cut it off? Do I feel guilty? Where's the space where I can just go, oh, good hell. I am just going to just let this beautiful man do what is due. Oh, and I'm going to just take it. Yeah. That's pretty hot. And so if you think about energy is money, money is energy. So is love. So is all the good things. So if you're blocking your sexual expression, you can't we know this from our therapy days, you can't go, I only want to feel this, but I don't want to feel that, right? You can't block it. So it's when you're blocking sex and you're blocking the expression or of your creativity, of your passion, of your desire, don't you think then the money piece, it would also, and so a lot of people say, you want some money, start having them good sex, right? And so, because it opens you up to be, especially the right person, to be adored, to be in tune with yourself, to be connected. I mean, it's a whole different experience. And so of course it kind of plays into each other. Right.
And I just know that a lot of the people you're working with are probably, in many cases anyway, dealing with those issues as well, right? That interconnection and opening up in that way. So I know that is all part of the energy mix. What are some of the other top blocks that you see? And that's a really juicy topic right there. We could talk the whole show about that one right there.
Well, you know what I do? I will tell you. So I'm in a relatively new relationship, less than a year, and I'm having fabulous sex. And it has transformed me because I'm getting adored in a way or getting touched in a way that I haven't been before. And so it's co-creating a new version of fierceness in me, and just hell yeah, I feel like this badass. And so with my now I'm telling the world via your podcast here, but I would with a lot of my clients, I'm a big fan. I'm they're talking about dating, and I'm oh girl, I want you having sex. Go have sex. You can't separate it, right? And so you can't take your business out of your life. And so I want everything to be holistic. I want it to work together. I don't want you making a shit ton of money and burned out, or, marketing really great and then going home and yelling at your kids. I try to get you to be your best version. And so I talk about this a lot with people. I mean, appropriately, meaning if it's in context, right? So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I was kind of wondering about that because, it was a different situation with me, but I wonder how many other clients she works with on that. Sounds like it's increasing because it's something you're opening up to more. Because to me, what I feel in it, in my own experience of it is from the man side too. It's the energy that gets opened up. It's for a woman, I could imagine, through my intuition, and everything. It's wow, I actually can fully receive. I can fully receive. It's okay to fully receive.
Yeah.
Whereas I think that it is true, probably to some degree, for sure, that men are a little bit better at that, right? On a whole, on average. And I'm not saying it universally. I'm just saying on average, where so like, oh, okay, I can receive. Okay, I'm good with that. Where you, like we talked about, where that shutdown. I need to please him in bed. I need to attend to his need, even when I'm having an orgasm. Why are you okay? So it's so in so many women.
It's the hologram of everything. Everything you are shows up in the place of sex and money. Like all of your dynamics, all your patterns live in those two spaces.
Yeah.
And so you want breakthrough, have a bunch of sex and start charging more. Woo, your world will blow up. Seriously.
And
you'll be triggered. Like your shit will come up. That's what I'm saying, is that, you really will, you will find the edges. Like for me, it was, oh my gosh, it's taking too long. I'm taking too long. Oh my God, I'm not doing it fast enough. I'm putting you out. Right. And now think about the core of that. Think of the wounding that I had to have that message. And then when I have a man that's like, no, when I please you, I feel better about me.
Right.
And so that's that like that flow thing. Right. And so, now I'm good. I got it. But it took the right person and a lot of vulnerability, a lot of bumping into like, but you just got to like go into the middle of it. And then then you have to break through. The only way around is through, that one. The only way around is through. You got to go right in the middle of it and go, get on the other side.
Right. Oh, wow. So, yeah, so tell us some more. Tell us more.
Sex on this episode, you freak.
But I know we know a lot of women that talk about this, right? There's a lot of other business coaches too.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Talk about pleasure and sex and how it explodes your business, and every orgasm takes you to another 100,000 up or whatever.
I'll tell my boyfriend, "You're making me money, dude." Right on.
Right, exactly. And how cool is that to be in a relationship where you're helping a woman receive more? In my opinion, like I'm all for that. I love that. So I mean, so the ability to just be fiercely ready to be you, and therefore to me it's all about this receptivity we're talking about. With sex, and that's such a potent gateway. And it's also through opening up our energy overall, right? I mean, sex happens to be a way to open our energy incredibly. And then overall, just opening our energy, right? And you do that really incredibly through the work you do. You open people up in their energy. Yeah. And when our energy gets open, we start realizing our life's really much more about receiving than it is about anything else. And every phase of giving really is a really deep receiving. I really believe that. I really think people that have given the most have been in deep receiving mode. They don't even know it. They just all giving. Like, I'm doing all this for them. Yeah, you're receiving. You're receiving. Cool. Like, it brings you such fulfillment. It brings you such fulfillment. And so the truest giving is when we're fully receiving. So by you encouraging people to deeply receive, which is what I'm hearing is all part of this fiercely being here, like you're allowing people to actually receive who they are and to be who they are is how I hear it, right? So yeah, absolutely. So and you're so right that the like strategies and all that stuff, I'm the same way, right? We teach similar things. I mean, it's like all that doesn't mean a damn thing. Like you could have all these strategies. Like I said, I worked with some very top high-end marketing coaches, and I don't want to disrespect them because I really love them, but like it did nothing for my business during that time, nothing. But when we worked on the energy, everything increased. So
there's a place for strategy. There really is a place for strategy. So we're not disparaging that.
Oh, absolutely.
But that can't become your God, right? And that's what most people do. Like, and I've done it recently. I've like, oh, they'll save me. That coaching company will help me with my messaging and my branding. They'll save me. Nobody's saving you. Like, that's the thing. And all your answers lie inside, all the wisdom. Now, what also lies inside is all the shit, all the shame, all the lies, all the dark, all the stuff that is keeping you small. And so you absolutely have good strategy. And so when I used to do more business coaching, now I work more with, I don't work on strategy, is I would get the strategy, but then I'd go, okay, hold on. Let's make sure it's aligned for you. Let's make sure it's cleared. Let's make sure you can live into that. Cause that's what would happen is and you too, give people great strategies and they can't embrace it. They can't be it. So it becomes like, oh, great. And then 3 weeks later, they're just falling apart or not doing anything and sabotaging. And so it's the blend of the both. I think our work is more important because lots of people can do strategy, but the ones that can work with the energy and the unconscious and the hidden elements, that's to me like the magic, because that's the place most people get stuck and they have no idea where to go. So they just look for like, I need more Twitter followers. I need a new banner. They're like scrambling out here when it's all inside.
Right. Absolutely. When I started online, that was my message right away. It's all about energy.
Mm-hmm.
And then
you're an old pioneer in this stuff, dude.
Yeah,
you're like
exactly.
an OG, right?
We're both there in the beginning, right? I mean, kind of. I mean, early stages anyway, back in the 2000s, and with all this coaching and online stuff that we're doing, and so. But yeah, I remember when other people started talking about energy is everything. I was like, oh my God, like that's that syndrome people go through. That's my thing, right? So but here's the thing, like what you're sharing and what I feel I'm sharing in my own language is being a spiritual rock star and all that. Rock your sacred purpose, fiercely here. We're messengers to say, screw the idea that you're like anyone else, just be you and let it rip.
Exactly.
Just be yourself. But it's easier said than allowing it to happen, right? It really is. I mean, if everybody could just be themselves just like that, maybe they would probably just do it, right? And if they understood the benefits. So, but that's where getting the help and the support is so important, is allowing yourself just to listen to this podcast. I mean, just whatever it is, like, damn it, I know I have a fierceness in myself. I want to claim that. I want to be fiercely here. And I feel like with so much like, okay, so I'll go into politics because it's edgy. Why not? Right?
Great. Let's go.
Next, politics, everything. We'll get into religion next, right? All right. So like I love that you got it's not only fiercely here, but it's the fierce as fuck, kind of thing, right? So I mean, that makes so much sense. Let's go into politics for a second. Look, whatever anybody wants to think, on either their side about Donald Trump, okay? He's as fierce as fuck. I mean, okay, he is as fierce as fuck, whether you like it or not. Okay. And so that's why there's so much energy that goes towards him on both sides. There's so much energy there because he's in his own way. Okay. I'm not saying from an embodied spiritual place. I'm saying like he's being very fierce and the energy's in, and he doesn't give a shit. He's just going to be himself no matter what. You don't like it, get out, you're fired.
Right.
Like, basically. So it's like, I mean, to the nth degree. So, I mean, so I guess that actually brings a question in my mind. Like, so it's not necessarily only about being fierce, right? It's not just about, I'm fiercely here. My message will dominate, people will polarize the hell out of everybody and the hell with the hell everything else. So I was wondering how you, without getting into too much of a commentary on Donald Trump, but like with that sort of thing, like I'm just going to dominate, I'm going to be so fierce.
No, and that's I think thanks for bringing that up, because I run a women's group once a month, and I started just a conversation starter. I say, okay, let's share a brag. I want to hear, what are you proud of? Share a brag, because women don't do that so well, right? And so I like women to be like, because there's no venue. We can go to 12-step programs and go, oh, I suck. I was horrible. I had a terrible week. Like, you get lots of attention, but to walk in the room and go, I'm a fucking rock star, girls. Can I just tell you? Like, there's not a lot of places for that. And so when I work with my women, we always do this, like, let's celebrate. Let's share some brags, right? And one woman said, I'm really afraid to do that. And I looked at her and she said, I don't want to be like Donald Trump. I said, there's a difference between narcissism and bragging, right? And so the fierceness that you're speaking of is more of a narcissistic perspective of it's my way or the highway. I don't give two shits about anybody else, steamrolling. That's not what this is. Because in my Fiercely Here group, there's a lot of people that say, well, I'm kind of an introvert. I'm not kicking doors in. And so you don't have to kick the doors in, but you got to walk through the door and go, oh yeah, greatness has arrived, right? Again, you don't have to shout it. So it's not a bombastic way of being. It's just being and not having to ask and not having to apologize. And it's like the very first line of my manifesto is, it is an intense state of focus. So you're so focused on like who you are and your mission, you can never say a word, but you walk in the room and your energy's like, I'm in the room, right? So so there's a difference between being fierce, because again, I told you, look up dictionary definition, and it's kind of like aggressive, angry, she eats her young kind of deal. And so to me, fiercely here is more presence. It's how you show up. It's the presence you come with, not the mouth, basically. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. And it's fierceness with soul and heart is how
Absolutely.
I see it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I think would resonate for people here too. I mean, that's what they're wanting. That's what's wanting to happen. And so I think that, yeah, the other sorts of voices we hear all the time, for me, it shows up as all the politicians and all the media to me. I mean, on both sides. So it's like all this crazy energy. And I feel like it calls people like ourselves and other people that are like us, that are wanting to get out of the woodwork, to want to be fierce with our soul and heart and with what we're here to bring, so that we can help shift the consciousness, make a difference here in our conscious businesses, etc. Right?
I have to tell you this. I forgot this one point. I can't tell you, when I run women's groups, I say, raise your hand if you've ever been told you're too intense. Every single freaking woman has had that experience. And it is a way of gaslighting. It's, I mean, we could go on the whole, I don't want to go all political on it, but that is a tool that women have been weaponized with. Like, God, you're so intense. Like, a woman has an opinion. It's like, well, she's on the rag. Oh, look at her. So either you're on the rag, you're intense, you're being a bitch. This in our collective psyche. And so for me, being fiercely here is you take that intensity, like you were saying, and you channel it. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Fuck them if they think you're intense. That doesn't matter, because they're not your people. They're not who you're supposed to work with. But seriously, it hurts my heart down. And I've been shamed for my, like, God, can't you, it's soul crushing when you have passion or excitement or a purpose or a message to be like, well, really, do you have to think that and say that? Like, And so that's my fight, is like, come on, sisters, nobody will ever tell you again you're intense. So be intense. Like come to my Facebook group, be intense as hell. You're going to find a sisterhood of intense women. And because that's been harmed in us, that part, like, men get to be on sports fields screaming and doing fist pumps and I'm the man, women be like, Serena Williams, breaks a racket and she's like, oh, I mean, the world fucking loses it because Serena Williams had some feelings, right? You know what I mean? Like, there's very much double standards. And so that's like, nobody should tell you you're too intense when you're just speaking your truth and what you know to be true.
Right. I mean, I love to see it in my girls, when they're being fierce, like,
yes.
I just think about my girls, like, especially my oldest, but both of them really, they're both very fierce with whatever they're up to. They're like, so I'm getting the best grades. I'm going to, yes. And they're fierce I feel with their love and they're like, I'm going for it. And so, like you said, like the women coming up are actually, starting to really get into a lot more now, right?
Absolutely. There's permission. Thank God. Yeah.
Really great. So the more that the people you're helping that are their moms, some of them and everything, like they become like part of the new wave, right? They become part of they have wisdom to share, with, they're able to be an example of that. Because if they're not breaking through that pattern, they're dragging their kids along into that pattern at some level, right? Or some dysfunction, right? So it cuts through the codependent stuff. We stop attracting codependent clients, the ones that are like, oh, I need you. And you're like, oh, sure. And then you burn out, right? So you're putting into that undervalue, like, don't worry, I won't even charge you for this session. And like, I just spent an extra hour and a half on the phone with you. Don't worry about it. I've got it covered, And just being
raise your hand if you've done that. We all have, right? I know.
Guilty, right?
You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah. And it's like realizing it's okay to be fierce with your value and your time and all those things too. There's so many, there's so many aspects of this. And so I feel like definitely that for women that feel like they double down for women who feel like they've been shamed, or they feel shamed, or they've been guilted, or they feel like they have been in these boxes and they can't show up with that intensity. Like, and they're heart-centered, amazing women that are probably, most cases, like either coaches or healers or maybe a conscious business of some sort.
Yeah.
Like the person, what the person to go to is gonna be you. I mean, like you're one of the top choices anyway.
Thank you, love. I appreciate that. Thank you. You
You're
can
the
do my
one
PR. Keep going. Keep going,
right.
babe.
Okay.
I receive, mister. I receive it.
Okay, right.
Thank you.
Your turn to receive, absolutely, big time. Okay, so with all that being said, I feel like yeah, it's a natural time for you to tell them more about what you have prepared for them if they want to connect more with you.
Yes. So I have actually 3 things. So we're gonna violate all the rules of marketing. But I'm trusting that you can hold 3 things in your brain at once, right?
Yes.
So the first one, super fun, is my Fierce AF Facebook group. And the AF, so Fierce AF is as fuck, but I'm not saying the A, but it's really different because it just, when I think Fierce AF, it just elevates me down. I just get like preacher Therese, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm like that. Like, so if you go on Facebook, if you just search Fiercely Here, or it's actually Facebook and then Fiercely Here Women in Business. So come to the Facebook group. I do, trainings. I do, like this week we did a boundaries challenge. I did some training on boundaries, and next week we're going to do conversation, like having difficult conversations. So really teaching people. I'm really active in there. It's a fabulous group. So Fiercely Here, look up that. Then I have, this is super fun. I'm having a monthly free, just like a training called like a webinar style. And so you would go to thereseskelly.com/FAF. And then that will get you on the notification list. So for the once a month calls, you can come in, listen to the calls, you can get coaching. So you can either be in the Facebook community or you can be in the notification list, which, you want to do that. I'm also starting, I don't know when this episode's airing, but I'm going to be starting a Fiercely Here podcast in the new year. So there's lots of ways to find me. Pretty visible on Facebook. So that's probably your best bet.
Awesome. Well, I'm really looking forward to that too, with your podcast coming out. It's amazing. And parallel paths, again, this one will be launching probably just before yours. But
okay, that's great. Perfect.
So absolutely. So check it out with Therese Fierce. Again, there's a 3 things. So I can't keep it in my brain, but check her out on Facebook with the Fiercely Here group. And so can you say it again?
Yeah, so it's thereseskelly.com/FAF, like fierce as fuck, FAF. So that will get you notified when the calls are coming. And if you just want to be in the Facebook, because some people just love Facebook, it's just Fierce AF Women in Business Community with Therese Skelly. So just type in Therese Skelly and you'll find me.
Yeah, you'll find all the stuff. Okay, cool. All right, well, that's awesome. One last gift I want to give to you, and is just to share some downloads I've got for what's emerging for you.
Oh my gosh, that's cool.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Is that cool? Okay, so just do a little like scanning of your energy sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, just the depth of receiving that you have right now is really deep. Like your energy field, like your crown chakra, the upper field is like really opening up. And it really does. I mean, it really does feel like, again, that parallel path, it feels like you really are giving birth in this new year to this work. And I just, I won't say on the air, but I even see a dollar amount. I just see, there goes the busince. Like,
okay, you got to tell me later. Message me.
Yeah, absolutely. I really get a sense of it. And some of the things I already told you, because I've given you some of this input before, but like I feel like you're going to be definitely doing more traveling. Like you already do that, but like you're going to be doing more. And then, so you're going to be on more stages in the new year in person as well. And then I feel like, yeah, you're going to be, I don't know if it's next year. I think it is, but I think you're going to have like these fiercely here like circles where are in different cities around the country, maybe around the world eventually. But like, I feel like you have these little circles coming together where women are
Cool.
able to come in local communities it may start with you being connected to it all at first. But I know one of your edges of growth, Therese, is you're going to let it go. And you're going to let these powerful women to be fiercely here for the group. They're going to take it on. That may happen a little bit later, but I see that happening too. I feel like that's a potential for you. So I'm just tuning in, just sharing some things that we download for each other. But like that's what I'm getting for you. And your throat chakra is so much more open than ever before. Your attunement with your intuition, I think like you could be even more woo, like I think like there's still an edge there. But like, yeah, I just feel like you're gonna be speaking more than ever next year. Your business is gonna go through the roof. And you're gonna have like a strong, might be still kind of smaller to start with, but like you're gonna have a really strong core to this energy you're building with this Fiercely Here movement. So anyway, so that's what I'm
oh my gosh, I love it. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, what a gift. I adore you. You're such an important part of my life, and just thank you for the work you do in the world. Like, you inspire me. So you're so freaking fierce. Oh my gosh. Woof. I love the boldness you show up with, and how so tapped in and so trusting. And so I hope you know how much I value you, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And so real quick, I just want to let people know if you want to check me out, I'm at, I got to get the URL, but Your Sacred Purpose, we're going to soon to be Rock Your Sacred Purpose, but yoursacredpurpose.com. You can go there, get to meditate and make money. There's even an opportunity to meet with me. If you're really feeling called to meet with me, there's an application there. Get to meditate and make money. Hey, let it be the easy way, okay? All right, so, but you can get an energy scan through the application there if you're someone that's feeling like, hey, if there's something there, I need to connect with Daniel. So anyway, so I'm so grateful to have you, Therese. You're amazing, and just can't celebrate enough what's happening, unfolding here for you, for us, for everyone. And I'm just so grateful to have had you today. Thank you so much for coming.
Bye.
All right, goodbye for now, everybody.
Wow, what a pleasure to have you join us today. Thank you so much for listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.